Today is the 16th of October 2010. We're at the Thayer Hotel in West Point, New York. My name is Wayne Clark, and I'm with the New York State Military Museum in Saratoga Springs, New York. Sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and your date and place of birth, please?
Okay, my full name is Otis M. White, and my nickname is Monte. And I was born in Nelsonville, New York on December the 3rd, 1924. So I'm almost 86.
Okay. And did you attend school there?
Yes, I attended all the school up till graduating from high school. And then I did some odd jobs that you usually do when you're 16 years old, and went down to New York City and had a half year at NYU. And that didn't seem to work out, so on the way home, on my 18th birthday, I stopped at the Army recruiting office and joined the Army.
Now, what year was that, sir?
That was December 3rd, 1942.
Now, do you recall where you were when you heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Yes, I was working at a gas station up on the Taconic Parkway as an attendant. And somebody came in with a newspaper, War, 1941, or was it December the 7th?
December the 7th.
U.S. declares war on Germany, was it? And that's how I heard about it.
So you enlisted in the Army.
Yes.
Now, why did you pick the Army?
Well, just because I knew where the recruiting office was, and the Army is the thing that you usually think about. Now, I didn't think about Navy or anything like that. In fact, I wouldn't have been interested in the Navy anyway.
Now, you ended up in the Army Air Corps. How did that come about?
Well, I'll say, first we went to Patchogue and got outfitted, and then I was sent to Miami Beach. And I'm trying to think of, I must have signed up for the Air Corps. They must have given me the prerogative, because that's where I went for basic training, and it was pretty nice down there, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
So,
now, once you completed your basic training, where did they send you next?
I went to Lowry Field. The basic training was very long for me because I had to wait until there was an opening to the school for bomb site maintenance. Actually, getting in that school was a matter of going to the high school where they gave us a GIQ test for aptitudes, and I could have gone to cryptography school or bomb site maintenance. Well, I chose bomb site maintenance. I'm more interested in mechanical things. Besides that, cryptography would have been like programming, and I never was much good at programming later on.
Now, at that school, did you train on the Norden bomb site at that time?
Yes, it was Norden bomb site. Mainly it was Norden bomb site. Here's a model of the bomb site that was given to me by
Can you zoom in on that? Or?
A lady in United Technologies, which is where the Norden company became part of United Technologies. You know, they built Pratt Whitney engines and all kinds of electronic things. That's what they're doing now. But this was one of the things the lady sent me. My dad had worked for Norden. It's kind of a family type thing here, but I don't want to get into that because
okay. And that training lasted for 24 weeks?
That's what it says on my record.
Okay.
I didn't bring the record. I've got my discharge here, but that doesn't tell about that.
Now, from there you went to Kelly Field, and did you get gunnery training there?
No, thinking back, it was just odds and ends as I recall, like I think target practice on the range and a few things like that, not a heck of a lot. It seemed to be like where they would decide where you were going to go. They assigned you to an outfit, and I took a furlough from there to home, which is Cold Spring, right across the river from here. And when I got back, my outfit was gone, so they assigned me to another one. And then I was sent to, I think it's Fort Dix, is that what I have there?
Yes. And you got aboard a Liberty ship.
Yes,
And you went to Scotland.
yes, it was a 13-day trip. Every day you had to set your watches a half an hour. I don't, one way or the other.
Now, did you get seasick at all?
No, I never did, but they were all over the ship. They were sick. I think there were about 2,000 fellows on that ship.
Uh-huh.
And of course, convoys. They were all over. A lot of
All right.
13 days. That's a long time.
Yes. So when you landed in Scotland, what happened at that point? Did you stay in Scotland for a while, or were you shipped to England?
No, we must have gotten on 6x6 trucks. You know, they were the standard trucks.
Mm-hmm.
GMCs, I think. And we were taken to Stone, England. I don't know how far it was. And there they assigned us to our destinations. Mine was the 303rd Bomb Group, which was at Molesworth, England, which is about 19 miles from Kettering, on the London Leeds line. That's the way I remember it. You know, the train line.
Now, you were with the 8th Air Force.
Oh yes, the 8th Air Force.
Had you ever heard of the 8th Air Force?
No, I hadn't before that.
Now, what was your impression of the unit when you got there? Was there a lot of activity going on, a lot of flights in and out of there continually?
Yes, of course at first it was just becoming familiar with the airplanes and things like that. And the bomb site shop where we took care of the bomb sites and did minor maintenance on them. Every airplane had a bomb site. These bomb sites were made by different companies. The main one is Norden. And here's this model that I have of a Norden. And here's a photograph of a Norden bomb site.
Yeah, he can zoom in on that. Now, did those bomb sites stay with the airplane, or were they taken out after every mission?
We had them in the shop and taking care of them. We had maintenance schedules and all. And the group lead, we got one, and then each squadron lead, there were 4 squadrons that got a bomb site in case the group lead was knocked out. So I had another fellow I worked with, actually, he was my boss, and we put the sites in the 359th Squadron's airplane. And they had a mission out every day. And
Now, how long?
carried them out in a canvas bag, climbed up in the airplane, put the site up there, and put it into its, on top of its,
Mount.
what they call the stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer.
Now, how long did it take to install one of those?
Well, to put it on a stabilizer, you could do it in 5 minutes, because you just put it down, it had a shaft that went in a hole there, and there was a plug called a cannon plug, I think you call it.
Yep.
Screw it up there. And I think we checked it a little bit. I can't remember the exact thing. But we had to do the maintenance on the automatic pilot. That was the basis of the run. That airplane had to be flying level, straight and level, in the right direction. And the pilot had to get that done, and then the bombardier would take over with the bomb sight.
Mhm.
And he would track it. When they got near the target and he could see it, he'd turn on the bomb sight and turn the knob over here, the rate, there's a rate knob here. That would, the telescope would change
Can you lift
speed.
that, can you lift that photo up again, if you would, and point that out?
The, right here, I think was a rate knob. He would turn that until the speed of the telescope was just right and it would stay on the target.
Uh-huh.
And when that had, well, I suppose wasn't too much time there allowed, and he had a switch that he closed there, and at the right time, the bombs would fall. Of course, the bomb bay doors were open
Mhm.
before that.
Now, once the pilot entered the bombing zone, now the bombardier took over and he actually controlled the aircraft?
Yes, with the bomb sight he controlled the airplane because it was not just the speed of the telescope tracking the target, but another knob there, I think, to turn the airplane.
Okay. Interesting. Now, did you go up on any of these bombing missions?
No, I did not.
Mhm.
I did go up on several check flights. You would get extra pay
Mhm.
just to go up and have a check flight. On one of them, I sat up in the front. There's a picture just to show you where you would be sitting, where the bombardier would sit. And the pilot let me fiddle with the knob there on the stabilizer, and the ship was going like this.
Now, you were with the unit for about 2 years over there,
Yes,
and then when Germany surrendered, you were transferred to the 100th Bomb Group?
yes, after VE Day, I had enough points. You get points for all your battles that you were in.
Okay.
They're listed on the back of your discharge.
Mhm.
And,
Now,
Can you hold that up?
well, here's where they are on the back. They list your history and all that.
did you stay in Molesworth, or did you travel around with the unit?
Well, Molesworth, the airplanes were all there, the 4 squadrons and the other supporting.
Okay, so you pretty much stayed in that area.
Yes, and then of course you'd go on leave. You'd go to this town and that town, and
Mhm. Now, how were you treated by the English people?
quite well.
Mhm.
I think some people resented the Americans, or so many of them over there, young fellows,
Mhm.
and some problems with women and all that.
Uh-huh. Now, do you recall where you were and what your feelings were when you heard about the death of President Roosevelt?
Yes, I heard of it. I was in the bomb sight shop,
Uh-huh.
and we were all quite sad. Well, I don't know whether we were all that way. I was, and several other fellows were quite sad about it. You know, I was brought up right around here, and his home is only a few miles
Up in Hyde
from
Park.
here, so I was pretty familiar with that. In fact, one time we went up, the family went up to the Hyde Park, and we went to the church he went to up there.
Uh-huh.
It's along Route 9 there, Episcopal, I think it was. And he came in, but there was a big guy on each side, and actually they were carrying him, but, you know, he could,
Mhm. Sure.
but that was quite an experience. I must have been about 12 or something, I don't know.
Now, when Germany surrendered, was there a lot of celebration on base?
I don't remember.
Mhm.
a lot of, I mean, we were spread out there, and no, I don't think,
Okay.
there must have been here and there.
Was there any talk about maybe being sent to the Pacific at all?
No, I didn't hear anything that, like that. Well, let's see, Germany surrendered, and then I was shipped over to the 100th Bomb Group, and that was just like a little rest and all. We didn't do much.
Uh-huh. And you stayed there till Japan surrendered?
Yes. You know, all the bombing had been done.
Mm-hmm.
Had ceased, I should say, or most of it, I don't know. But it was sort of just an interim thing. I don't
Okay.
know. Oh, there was talk of us going over to be in an army of occupation, and they talked about Vladivostok or something like that. Oh,
Uh-huh.
that wouldn't have been the Russians, but I know it's kind of mixed up. Oh, let's see. Oh, that's right. We did have a course you could take from the chaplain in German, so I went to a couple of those classes.
Mm-hmm.
But that fizzled out.
Okay.
And
Let
the
me-
next thing I knew, VJ Day. I was in Edinburgh on leave on VJ Day, and I heard a radio up on somebody's apartment ledge. VJ Day and all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just go back a little bit. What was your living conditions like?
Well, we were in a barracks,
Uh-huh.
and it was kind of cold in there. We had a pot-belly stove in the middle, and it was must have been sheet steel, because when it was full of coke they used,
Mm-hmm.
you could see the coke. I mean, it was like it was made out of glass, because you could see the coals in there just from the heat of the
Mhm.
steel on the outside. And they only had enough coke to last a few days, so you only had heat for 3 or 4 days. And I was in the middle of near the middle of the barracks there with my bunk. And an interesting thing was, after payday, several fellows would have card games in the middle near the middle,
Mm-hmm.
near my bunk. So I learned to sleep through those card games, because
Uh-huh.
there was a lot of noise in there. And another thing that happened, there was a mud problem there. We had a lot of mud in there. We had to move out of the barracks for them to be cleaned up. And we lived in tents for a while, but that was in the nice weather.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you get to see any USO shows at all?
No, I didn't, but
Mhm.
I think they had them there. You know, this was a big place. And some fellows probably were more in tune with all that business,
Mm-hmm.
but I was not.
Okay. So you went back in October of 1945. You went back to the States?
Yes, October 45,
You went back on the Queen Mary?
yes, they shipped, I think it was down in, I got it on that sheet, but
Southampton.
Southampton, I think it was Southampton, and we,
It only took 5 days to go back.
my pictures here. Oh, here's the Queen Mary. I got these from the people that had the Queen Mary
Oh,
in LA. See, here's, we had 11,600 on board, and that's probably what it looked like from the distance there.
now going back home, did you go back with any people from your unit?
No, just fellows I did meet there.
Mm-hmm.
I did meet one fellow on the ship from my hometown, but that was just,
Uh-huh. What was it like when the ship arrived in New York Harbor? Was it an emotional experience?
Well, it was for me, and I'm sure it was for every other member there of the military. There was no big, I didn't hear a lot of people shouting or anything.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's kind of a long process. Here's a picture I like to keep and show.
Oh. And that's you standing, I take it that's a B-17
Yeah,
engine?
yeah, that's the one that came in on its
On its
belly.
belly, the landing gear up?
Yeah, and evidently everybody got off that one.
Now, did your unit, your individual bomb group, did it suffer a lot of casualties?
I think it did, yes. One thing I remember is when I got there, all the airplanes were olive drab, you know, that color, painted. When I left, they were practically all just aluminum, not painted. I heard that there were 200 pounds of paint on one of those things, and that was one of the reasons they stopped painting them. And they flew at 25,000 feet. So why paint them dark color? That was part of the reasoning, I think.
Now, you were discharged at Fort Dix, was it?
Yes, the same place where we got ready to leave the States. We came back to the same place, Fort Dix, New Jersey.
When you were discharged, did you make use of the GI Bill at all?
Yes, I was home for almost a year, I think, and then I was able to become a student at the State Teachers College at Oswego, which is now part of the University of the State of New York. Maybe you've been there yourself.
I'm familiar with it.
I haven't been there for a long time.
Did you, I see you got a bachelor's in education?
Yes, at the time, all they had there was about 3 or 4 buildings, and then some barracks type things that was built there for wartime.
Did you go into teaching?
Yes, I only tried it for a year, and then decided that I wasn't really meant for it. So I came home, and
you went to work for IBM?
And I got a job there. It took a whole month to get a job there. They were building up their, IBM was building up their force there. I think they had 50,000 employees at the time. That was 1951.
Okay.
And they got up to 400. Was it 400,000? Yeah. And then I think they came down. I don't know how many they have now.
Okay. And did you join any veterans organizations like the VFW or the Legion?
No, I didn't, although I had the chance to, the opportunity. I didn't. Actually, right now I'm in the Veterans Administration.
Okay.
They have a hospital, Castle Point, up here, right on the river.
And you're a member of the 8th Air Force Association?
Yes, I've been in that quite a few years. Finally, I met somebody at an older hostel, and he was in the Air Force Historical Society, and that's how I found out about it. And from there on, people call you, and you become a member of the 303rd Historical Society, which is not operating anymore. So many fellows are gone.
Now, how do you think your time in the service changed or affected your life? Do you think you would have gone on to college had it not been for the GI Bill?
I don't know. I know my dad was insistent that I go to school, and I realized that it was the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was a great thing to be able to go.
Mm-hmm. And you enjoyed your time in the service?
Yes. I think it's one of the high points of my life, and here it was 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you so much for your interview.
Well, I'm glad I could be with you fellows.
Okay, thank you. All right.